Bam! And we're back. The Ervits assessment is back. We're here to talk about last week's main event. The card. UFC Fight Night, Waterson versus Hill. So if you remember, I went over 4 fights and I made 4 predictions. I went 1-3, though the very first fight that I will talk about in a little bit, there was some BS in that fight. We'll go over it. I'm hoping it gets overturned, so then maybe it'll be too late. I don't know if you guys will remember, but then I'll be at 2-2. So the fight I'm talking about was Ed Herman against Mike Rodriguez. So remember, I had picked Rodriguez. So going into that fight, the first round, Rodriguez was winning the stand-up battle. He was looking good. He looked sharp. Second round. Now, this is where the controversy comes into play. So Rodriguez gets Herman up against the cage and hits him with 2 beautiful shots to the body, right up here if you're looking, right up here. He gets him with a couple knees right there. Herman drops to the floor. Rodriguez is about to start hitting him, and like I said, Herman drops. You can see he's Chris Tione, who's the ref, goes in and says, "Stop," and you hear Rodriguez say, "Stop." What do you mean, stop? So he's saying it was a low blow. Now, of course, the problem is the referee doesn't have can't see the replays. So he's going off his judgment that it was a low blow. Now, I don't know what he was looking at. I'm sorry, if you're a referee and this is what you're paid to do, you should be on top of these things. Horrible blown call. He gives Herman 5 minutes to recover. It's over. The fight should be over at that point. The ref, he's done. He's TKO'd. That's it. Fight over. Rodriguez gets the victory. But it doesn't happen. He gives Herman 5 minutes to recover. He gets dropped again, but again, it was closer to the end of the round, so that was that. Rodriguez then in the third round drops him again. Starts beating him up. Now, the thing was that he didn't realize his arm was kind of just hanging there. So Herman grabs it into Kimura, gets Rodriguez to tap out, and loses. So Herman gets the victory. Now, Rodriguez wasn't really upset. Which is, I think, good because he didn't show a lot of emotion about it. And, sometimes that won't work in your favor if you're too emotional about it, though I think he had the right. He got screwed. Basically, he got completely screwed over. The referee, horrible call. Dana White even said that was a horrible call that they missed. They still gave Rodriguez the win money. But it goes down in the books as a Herman victory. I got that one wrong, but like I said, hopefully his team will appeal it and it'll turn into a win because it should have been a second round TKO. So yeah, that was crazy. The next fight that I went, and this is the one that I actually got right, was Roxanne Modafferi against Andrea Lee. So it was a good stand-up battle. It was kind of going back and forth. I thought Modafferi won the first round, but it was funny because she was punching her, then they got to the floor, Lee reverses it. So it's just kind of going back and forth there. In the second round, Lee actually is starting to do better now. She's getting better shots in. So I think she won that round. In the third round, Modafferi again striking, gets a little bit better on there, takes her down. Lee holds her down there. Pretty much has the more control time and everything. She wins the fight, unanimous decision. She was a 3-1 underdog, so I thought that was great because that's a huge win for her. Again, she's getting older, so this maybe will push her up a little bit in the rankings. See who she could fight next there. The co-main event, which if you remember, I was talking about. I said it was Atman Azatar against Kama Worthy. Now I picked Worthy, even though I was rooting for Atman because I met the guy and, like I say, he took me to dinner. I was wrong, and boy, was that fight quick. Atman just, him and Karma are trading punches. Atman just gets him with this looked like a 5-6 punch combo. Drops him, gets him, starts hitting with some shots. You can see Worthy's done. He's out of it. Referee comes in, stops the fight. Worthy got a little bit upset, but if you look when he gets upset, he's kind of wobbling around. Great fight. That's the last time I'll probably pick against Atman because that was a tremendous fight. I thought He looked great. This is the second first-round finish in a row to beat somebody that had more experience than him. And I think just going forward, he's a prospect, so I think they should just kind of build him up slowly. But I think he looks good, and he has tremendous power. He has a lot of first-round finishes, so I think that's great for him. So yeah, and then the main event, remember, was in the women's strawweight division. It was Michelle Waterson against Angela Hill. Remember, I picked Angela Hill. Now, this fight was a really good fight. I mean, this was a battle. I think Hill won the first 2 rounds. With her striking, she had better striking. Waterson, she was doing good too as well. Then in the 3rd round, where I think the fight starts to change a little bit, was Waterson, she starts landing more punches, but she takes Hill down. And when she takes Hill down, she starts doing some ground and pound, gets some control time on her, and that, I think, wore Hill a little bit out. I thought Waterson won round 3 and 4. Going to the 5th round, it was back to standing on the feet. I thought Hill, and if you looked at the numbers, Hill did outland her in the 5th round. So I thought the way I had scored it was 3 rounds to 2 for Hill. The judges didn't see it her way. It was a split decision victory for Waterson. I was okay with that because, again, Waterson was coming back in the second half of the fight. So I don't have a problem with it. The problem I did have was one of the judges saw it 4 rounds to 1 for Waterson. I don't know what kind of fight that individual was watching, because it definitely would. No, you could not say, for either fighter, you cannot say, yeah, they won 4 rounds. To me, that's crazy. I don't know why some of these judges still get opportunities to judge after making horrible calls like this. Again, I won't say an upset, but just to see 4 to 1, I think is really concerning. And it wasn't, if maybe they had somebody that was better, they maybe could have seen it 3-2 for Hill. For Hill, this is kind of disappointing because it's the second fight in a row where she loses a close split decision loss. I don't know if it's maybe it's just something that, I don't know, she has to just learn to take that next step, because, to give to that next drive to finish a fight, because this is the second time it's happened in a row. It's happened a lot in her career. Seems like, she beats kind of lower level talent, but once she starts getting to the higher talent like Michelle Waterson, it kind of falls flat. For Waterson, the same thing. She doesn't look that great against the top contenders, but with mid-level, contenders, she looks good. So this we'll see, maybe she'll fight. I don't know if we'll move her up in the rankings. She was at number 8. I don't know if we'll move her up. Maybe we'll move her up 1 spot. But I'd like to see her maybe fight somebody in the bottom half of the top 10. See if, maybe this gives her some momentum. See where it's going. So that was the recap on that. This week's card is going to be tremendous. There's a 6-card main event. I'm going to go over 5 of the fights, give predictions on 5. This is actually UFC Fight Night, Covington versus Woodley, which these two have tremendous bad blood with each other. So the first fight that I'm going to be talking about is in the women's strawweight division. It's number 15, Mackenzie Dern against Randa Marcos. Now, Dern's coming off a victory in her last fight. She beat Hannah Cifers by submission, where Marcos is coming off of a loss. That was a decision to Amanda Ribas. Now, I really like Mackenzie Dern. She only has 1 loss. It was right after her pregnancy. She's young. She's talented. She's tremendous on the ground. Her striking is getting better if you watch her. Like I said, I really like her. I think she has a lot of potential in this women's strawweight division. So I think I will pick her for the win. I think if she gets it to the ground, I think she could submit Marcos. Well, Marcos is a tough vet, but I think she can get it done. But either way, I'm picking Dern. And then maybe it'll bump her up maybe a couple spots to number 14, 13, and she'll get a good fight there. The next fight will be in the men's light heavyweight division. It will be number 11, Johnny Walker, against number 12, Ryan Spann. Now, Johnny Walker has been a frustrating fighter to watch. Not too long ago, people were like, hey, because the guy's tall, he's long. People were like, hey, maybe this is the guy that can come up and fight John Jones, and he could be the next guy. And he has not looked good. He's had some frustrating losses. He actually lost his last fight to Nikita Krylov by decision, where Spann is actually coming off of a victory, a decision against Sam Alvey. Uh, I'm going to pick Walker because, again, I still like that he has a lot of talent and he's still young. He's only 28 years old. It's just he's been frustrating because he has the tools, just doesn't put it together. But I'm thinking and I'm hoping that maybe this will be the fight. He wins this, it'll maybe bump him up to number 10. And then maybe he's, finally starting to put it all together. But we'll see. Again, I'm not that confident in this pick because, like I said, he's been kind of frustrating. But I will pick, I'll pick Johnny Walker. The next fight I'm really excited about. It's in the men's middleweight division. It's going to be rising star Hamzat Chimaev, and he's going to be fighting Gerald Meerschaert. Now, if you remember a few videos ago, I was talking about Hamzat Chimaev, who set a record where he had 2 wins in less than 2 weeks, which is a UFC record. It's amazing. The guy has just been... he's blew these guys out. And these guys weren't just... they weren't scrubs, but they were, they had some experience. But he took them out, took them out relatively easily. I think he only absorbed like 1 or 2 punches in 2 fights combined. So this is going to be a good test for him. Meerschaert's coming off of a TKO loss in his last fight. But he will, he'll give Chimaev some, I think he'll test them. And that's what I think it's good for Chimaev to see if, if he's worth the hype that they're talking about. And Dana White's already told him, hey, if you win this fight, you'll fight Damian Maia next, which I think is great. Now, I hope Chimaev is not looking past Meerschaert because he can derail those plans. But I like Chimaev to win this fight. I don't think it'll be as easy as his last 2 fights, but I think he'll come out with the victory. I could even see going into a decision, but we'll see what happens there. But I am picking Chimaev to continue that hot streak, and I'd love to see him fight Maia. That would be, I think, tremendous. The next fight, it'll be in the men's in the men's welterweight division. It'll be number 14, Donald Cerrone. Yes, Donald Cowboy Cerrone. He's still fighting against Nico Price. Now, Cerrone lost his last fight, though I think it was controversial against Anthony Pettis. I think it could have went either way, but he did look better there. But then, Pettis is kind of over the hill. Nico Price lost his last fight to Vicente Luque by 3rd round TKO. That was a great fight before that. I'm going to pick Nico Price to win this fight. The reason why is I think Cowboy's best days are behind him. He's a legend. He will go into the UFC Hall of Fame when it's all said and done, but he's just way past his prime. You could just, you've seen it. Conor destroyed him easily. He didn't even put up a fight in there. He lost by shoulder strikes. It's not something you would see Cowboy losing by. Again, Pettis, yeah, again, you could say it was controversial, but he just hasn't looked good. I think it's his time. I think he needs to retire, and I don't like that he's fighting somebody like Nico Price who's explosive, so I'm picking Nico Price to win this fight. The main event. Oh, this is going to be a good one. This actually has title implications in it. It is in the men's welterweight division. It's number 2, Colby Covington, against former champ, number 5, Tyrone Woodley. Now, these two do not like each other at all. These two have had bad blood. They've been jabbing at each other back and forth for a while now. When Woodley was a champ, Covington called him out, but Woodley said, okay, let's fight. And then Covington made excuses, didn't fight him, and Woodley acknowledged it. Covington is just a jerk. He just talks smack about everybody. That's just his shtick, though. Everybody says that that's not how he used to be, but that's how he became. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But these two do not have good history with each other. With Covington, he lost his last fight to Kamaru Usman by 5th round TKO. That was a hell of a fight. I had it actually 2-2 going into the 5th round, and then Usman popped him right in the jaw. Boom, cracked him, beat him up. I don't know if he suffered a broken jaw, Covington, but it looked like it. But that was just great. Woodley, former champ, who lost his last 2 fights. He didn't even show up. It looked like he lost to Kamaru Usman, which was how he lost his belt, and then he just fought Gilbert Burns, who's actually going to be fighting Usman for the belt. Same thing. It was a 5-round destruction. I want Woodley to win. I don't like Covington. He's a great fighter. I don't like his personality. I think he's a jerk. I just do not. I don't know him personally, but just from what I see, I don't want him to win. But saying that, I think Covington will win. The reason why I think he'll win, he fights essentially the same way as Usman, and as Burns. Striking's good, but he has great wrestling. And though against Robbie Lawler, when Covington beat Lawler, he did not really take it to the floor, but he actually outstruck Lawler, and everybody was like, oh, Lawler's going to knock him out, and that's what I thought. And it didn't happen that way. And I don't know, with Woodley, he's looked gun-shy his last 2 fights. He's been taken down relatively easily. Both guys, like I said, Burns and Usman, just outworked him. Like I said, I'm hopeful he does. I'm just hoping that maybe he can pull the trigger, knock Covington out. It'd be great to see, but I think just the way his last 2 fights have gone, and Covington is a similar type of fighter to Usman and Burns. Maybe he's just not as strong, but he can implement that same game plan. I'm going to have to go with Covington in that fight. So that is going to be great. So, like I said, the 5 fighters I'm picking to win: Mackenzie Dern, Johnny Walker, Khamzat Chimaev, Nico Price, and Colby Covington. Then next week, I cannot wait. It's going to be Israel Adesanya against Paulo Costa for the middleweight title, and there's also a light heavyweight championship as well. It's going to be great. I can't wait to talk about that with you guys next week. Again, this is the Ervits assessment. If you could please like, comment, subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. Until then.